Welcome everybody to Rad Pod and Chill. I'm Heidi Kuda, and I'm here with my, I would say my favorite three folks, Jim Stewartson, High Fidelity, and Sean Connor.
Hey guys.
It was a super heavy week, but just seeing my friends here brings me some joy. So we're so happy that you guys are joining us. As you know, we like to do a kind of midweek-ish recap of our awesome episode that aired earlier in the week, and we really covered a lot of turf in the last episode. Thank you again for watching. Thank you for supporting our work. We also had some fun with a handful of our Patreons this week. We had a little Patreon party, and that turned out to be a really amazing time. And before I pass the mic over to my bros, I want to thank our viewer Sharon for inviting me to the memorial service for Richard Sobel. He was a civil rights lawyer in New Orleans, and this man did so much good that even though I didn't know him, I was bawling my eyes out through the memorial Zoom service, listening to what people were saying. And it reminded me that there was a time in our recent history where we cherished the people who stood up for what was right, who stood up for human rights, who stood up for civil rights. This man did more good in his lifetime than most. I encourage everyone to look him up, Richard Sobel, civil rights lawyer. My heart is still full from hearing all the kind words that people had to say about this man. One of them is that heroes arrive early. So I surround myself with heroes. I surround myself with global experts and people who smoke weed and cough during my intros. But seriously, a lot of times people aren't prepared for heroes. Like Richard Sobel, for example, was jailed for his activism and for being on the right side of history. And he didn't give a you-know-what. He just kept pushing on and doing what was right. And everybody could rely on this man to do what was right and good. So look around for heroes, because sometimes they're ahead of the curve. They show up a bit early, but they're there and they walk among us, and cherish them. And that is my happy Heidi Golightly intro. What say you boys?
Jim, we've already had a question here from our chat.
About crypto?
What's going on with crypto?
It's a worthless anarcho-capitalist chaos op. And it's been going on for a decade, and it's gonna unwind. And listen, there will be good technology, there will be good ideas, there will be maybe even a few companies that come out of it, but the menagerie of ridiculous coins and stable coins and DAOs and fucking Web3, like, it's nonsense, all of it. Honestly, don't get me wrong, there's some good tech in there. Not everybody who's doing it is a fraudster. However, underneath it all is the desire to destroy the United States dollar and therefore our financial system. That's the goal, period, straight up. And the reason we know that is because Elon Musk and Peter Thiel told us. When they started PayPal, and this is important, when they started PayPal, they said out loud, the goal of PayPal is to replace the US dollar and therefore replace the financial system. That was their goal. They got an offer from eBay for $4 billion fucking dollars, and so they decided to take that and go make more fascist shit with it instead of using PayPal to do it. So after that, and a couple years later, this weird ass LARP shows up in the internet called Satoshi Nakamoto. which is supposed to be some guy. It's not a guy. It's a LARP. It's a live action role play. It's a character, and there's a bunch of engineers and people behind it. And I am here to say that Peter Thiel is absolutely funded the shit out of that thing. I don't know if you could call him Satoshi, but he absolutely was involved at the very, very beginnings of Bitcoin. And I'm guessing Elon Musk as well, though I'm not quite as sure about that part. Elon Musk has been fucking pushing Dogecoin. Dogecoin is currently trending on Twitter. The reason why there is a giant crypto crash right now is because of a stable coin, which overnight lost 98% of its value, which doesn't sound like too much of a stable coin to me. I don't know.
Well,
it was at $83 and it went to fucking 3 cents in 2 days.
Yes.
So that's the problem. You have no idea what you're buying. It's just gambling with somebody else's bullshit, right?
Well,
what you're doing is you're trying to social engineer the tulip mania of 1667. You're not familiar with tulip mania. All of a sudden, tulips became worth millions of dollars, literally, in the Netherlands. Just went fucking batshit crazy. Everybody lost. Like, it was the first sort of bubble. That's all we got here, team.
Radicalized Podcast will be releasing tulips as NFTs, though.
We'll see.
Exactly. NFT tulips are coming next. So listen. I'm just here to say, if you want to fuck around with crypto, go for it. But do it with like your coffee money. Don't fucking bet the rent on it. Go on Twitter right now and type crypto crash and see how many people who are literally on the verge of bad breakdowns.
I got a whole bunch of stuff I want to get out before it evaporates from my brain based on what you just said, Jim. Munger, Charlie Munger, the right-hand man of Berkshire Hathaway, billionaire, basically says it's great. It's a great quote unquote currency for money launderers and extortionists and kidnappers. And then our very own Martin Shields says, don't refer to it as money. This is a speculation market. We all knew it's like a pyramid scheme, pump and dump, beanie babies, whatever you want to say. But I also think that the best thing to do is to watch episode 1 with Dave Troy, where we have the very first episode of Rad Pod was with Dave Troy, who's studied this up, every single which way for 40. Oh, look at the Salvadorians. The people in El Salvador.
They're about to default.
So it's actually not funny because the people.
I know, suffer, but god damn it.
I know it was predictable. The people who suffer are always like with pyramid schemes and Ponzi schemes and the MLM crap. They're always the little guy, and that's who's going to suffer.
And speaking of coups that America has funded, Jesus, those poor South Americans. Seriously, I mean, the economic hitmen and all that. We've just wrecked.
South Americans. What about the poor Filipinos? They got a Marcos back in fucking office, dude.
What is it?
And
47 different attempted coups since the Second World War, something crazy.
Yeah.
It's true though. I mean, what Hi-Fi said is important. We gotta let's not skip over the fact that the fucking Marcos family is back in charge of the Philippines. The problem with people is that they're stupid and they forget what happened yesterday in terms of national history. It's bananas that they would put this family who turned that place into a shit show. Not that it was awesome beforehand, but Imelda spent half the economy on shoes. And they're going to put that family back in power.
And
what it tells you is that there's an instability in the world right now that is making this authoritarianism comfortable, right? That people want it. And they know, the Marcos are authoritarian, crazy dictators, but they're ours.
Well, do you
Yeah,
know
I think
who helped
go ahead.
Marcus, when he was escaping? That was our one and only Paul Manafort, who was working with
Yes.
Ferdinand Marcos.
Of course.
I'm just, I can
Of
always
course.
just pull up an old thread.
Paul
Here we go,
motherfucking
kids.
Manafort.
Retweeting that one, yeah, I know. Where there's a dictator or a torturer or one of the worst human beings that ever lived on the planet, you'll find Paul Manafort and Roger Stone.
Isn't that guy free now? Didn't they fucking let him out?
Yeah.
Motherfucker.
Looking
Like,
tanned
what?
and well, and yeah.
I mean, Jesus Christ, they let him out. I mean, the guy who was in Ukraine, who almost overturned the country twice.
Yeah.
Like, who got a dictator in there, who caused all sorts of shit, who enabled the invasion of Crimea, and he's just hanging out.
Who took
Like,
$70 million from Putin? He took $70 million
Yes, he did.
from Putin's guys, and
He
something
fucked up
in there.
Ukraine.
And he still wore shitty suits. Sorry.
Well,
Oh, so yeah.
McNulty, the answer to that question is yes.
what's the question?
Does Rand Paul work for Vladimir Putin?
Yeah.
100%. Yes.
Yeah, that's not even a
I've
question.
done multiple
Yeah, let's it's in the chat.
about the
Oh, I
Paul
see.
family in general.
Yes.
The Paul family in general, and even more generally Kentucky, which I like to call Kentucky, is just fucking Russian. And what should happen is we should empty Kentucky of all the good people, all the Americans, and put all the fucking Russians in there and then build a wall around it. Build the wall. Build the
Are you
fucking
setting
wall
up
around
concentration
Kentucky.
camps, Jim? Don't do
No,
that.
don't. Hi-fi, no. Don't
come
even
on.
say those things. Oh my God. Okay.
Stop.
Oh my God. Let's
Well, I
cut it-
mean, build
cut
a
it in
wall
post.
around a state and imprison.
Cut
We
it
have
in
to
post.
figure out how
Cut it
to.
in
I'm making a
post.
joke, you ding dong. It's not. I'm not going to do it.
Okay,
Moving
I'm
on.
high. Sorry.
Moving
I
on.
need to make a point about that. And the point is that if you watch the episode of Radicalized, Truth Survives, with the former president of Estonia, he makes a very important point. And he says that, he essentially says that do not underestimate how many politicians have been bought in one way or compromised in one way or another by Putin and his oligarchs. And I think that's very important.
Yes.
I think it's also very important to note that another oligarch died in a funny style way. So we know a bunch suicided themselves recently, and now we have someone who died who used to be the head of state-run oil company who died of
Super
toad venom from a
Nobody
cure.
should say that there were any suicides from any oligarchs.
No,
'cause
I
there
said
were no suicides.
It's a bad couple months to be an
said-
Oh, did
oligarch,
you-
huh?
I said
Sorry, I must have
suicided
missed the air
themselves.
quotes.
You did miss
I
the air
must have
quotes
missed the
because
air quotes.
I was turning it into a word that doesn't exist, the suicided, which sort of implies the air quotes. But
Got it.
in the future, funny style. All of it was funny style. Who dies of toad venom?
Yeah.
This is one hell of a freaking crazy ass opener. High five.
This-
Mute yourself when you're gagging on your non-weed.
Oh, sorry. I thought I was.
You are
I keep
not.
forgetting to hit the button.
I wonder why.
You need to have one like mine, high five, like this guy.
Must have been high. He must have been high.
Hey, since we're talking about the Russians, can we talk about? Anybody want to talk about biological warfare?
No.
No, we don't. We actually don't, but we need to because it's important.
We have to.
We really
just-
do.
I just don't want to
I
spend too
have
much time
one data
on Todd
point on
Calendar.
this, and that's all.
What's that?
You have
Okay,
Todd
good
Calendar.
fit.
You have Todd Calendar.
No, I don't want
I
to talk
have
about
one
Todd
data
Calendar.
point.
He drives me fucking
You don't?
crazy. Even though, he drives me nuts. We could talk about it a little bit, but
I know.
you
but
can't get me
but-
started
but
because I'll
it's
get
a-
wound up and then I can't stop. I'll be up all night fucking researching Todd Calendar. Oh,
Well,
this guy.
you might be doing that
Okay,
anyway.
well,
So
I mean, that's a
No,
good thing.
we got to show the video. Let's talk about him a little bit. But
as soon as I saw that nanoparticles were back, I was like, "Fucking Todd Calendar."
that's how we
So,
met, Heidi. That's how we met.
I know.
Dun, dun, dun.
I know. It was amazing.
Todd Calendar.
I'll do the 30-second intro, then Jim, you take it
Okay.
away. Bottom line is that Sean and I met cute over this lawyer from the Bahamas who has all these holdings in Russia where, he lives in the fancy part where Stalin lived, or he stays there anyway. His family has a vax technology company, even though he's Mr. Anti-vax, Mr. Nanoparticles, Gesundheit. He's the guy who's at the American Frontline Doctors, White Coat Summit events, trying to sell the kids on anti-vax. And
he started the Nuremberg,
Nuremberg
trial concept with vaccines. He started the basically the nanoparticles vaccines.
Yeah.
He's the one that he wrote the complaint initially that people could sort of just fill in the blanks and then file their complaint. He's responsible for the class action lawsuit against the federal government for servicemen in the military trying to make a form a class of 500,000 or something outrageous. And now, Jim, I'll turn it over to you. The newest, after his AIDS and the vaccine conspiracy theory that he's been pushing.
Well,
he's a propagandist in a bad suit.
So he's been pushing that shit for a long time, right? But there's a very specific thing that's been coming up recently. So at Clayberg, who everybody should follow, sent me a video that at first just made me like pass out because it's so bad, so stupid, and makes no fucking sense at all, except it's really specific. It's like really specific, and it got me super curious. And so I started digging into what was going on, and Clayberg found it from Clay Clark's video stream. Clay Clark's is the guy who runs all of Mike Flynn's PSYOP cult rallies, the Reawaken America tour. That's all Clay Clark. So Clay Clark is pushing this guy who's pushing this theory. So before I'll stop talking, why don't we watch the video so you can see the theory, and then we'll talk about why it's.
Do we need to have a propaganda warning on this, or any kind of?
No, we don't.
Okay.
You'll see why.
Okay.
You'll see why we don't.
Okay, thank you.
You'll see why. Mm-hmm.
Let me grab this, and here we go.
Find it. It's under a international
God.
patent application, and the U.S. version is 99/14174. And you look at page 7 here, and it actually tells you, oh, by the way, here is how we're going to create a self-replicating Marburg virus. So go ahead.
Yeah, Todd, if I may. So can you please just explain to the folks, just briefly before we go into this, what are the symptoms of Marburg? And what is the morbidity of Marburg? Because if they were able to do what they did with COVID, which was 1% morbidity,
that's right.
This, from my understanding, is in even way. I mean, it doesn't even compare.
That's right. So Marburg is a form of hemorrhagic fever. Ebola is a hemorrhagic fever. Hantavirus is a hemorrhagic fever. This particular bug, Marburg, has between a 50 and 80% fatality rate. However, it's not very transmissible, and that's why you've only had 10 deaths over the last 40 years with this thing. So how did they solve that problem? Why is it listed in 42 CFR Part 7071? And what we came to find was a bunch of patents, including this one, that show that the same pandemic people have figured out how to take Marburg proteins, Marburg mRNA and synthetic DNA, implant them in people, and then have people produce them. You know what? We've already gone through this. They did that with the spike proteins and the mRNA shots for both Moderna and Pfizer. Those were synthetic messenger RNA, and they.
I can't watch the rest of it.
I can't.
All right.
I can't.
He almost got to the punchline, which is that they are active. It's okay. The nanoparticles are activated by 5G signals.
Yes, that's been pushed. He's been pushing that shit since August 2021.
Listen, yes, all of this is bullshit. Everybody, let's be clear. I hope there's nobody who's not clear. I wrote real big on it. Dangerous propaganda. None of this is true. None of it's true at all. It's complete bullshit. However, the reason why I got interested in this particular PSYOP is because the Marburg virus is actually a biological weapon. The Russians had an extensive Marburg virus weaponization, both offensive and defensive. The Soviets did. And then the lab where Marburg was originally weaponized and created was called the Vector Lab. And the Vector Lab had an explosion 1 month before COVID started. So there's some
November 2019.
Yes, November 2019. So there's some very fucking weird shit going on with, with Marburg and this lab in general. But then all of these operators are specifically talking about this, which is 5G activating Marburg, right? So what that tells you is, since it's 5G, it's in the West, right? That's where it would happen. And they're talking about a disease which is basically Ebola, but worse. And it is not something that you would get an epidemic of unless it was distributed, in some way through the air or salad bars or whatever the fuck they were going to do, right? So my concern is that, given that these are real, the actual Russian government has this weapon, and they've been pushing biolabs propaganda for months, right? That there are Nazi biolabs in Ukraine. I mean, this is not from QAnon, this is from Putin's mouth.
Yes.
Right? That there are Nazi biolabs in Ukraine. So if Putin is seriously trying to push this fucking psyop that there are Nazi biolabs in Ukraine, and he's actually got Marburg virus, it seems like, some authorities ought to know about that. And I believe they do.
Yes.
Steps have been taken, and again, hat tip to both Kleberg and Gelserbrunnen, who helped me, sort of track this down. And then I just started looking into this op, and Jim Watkins is pushing it on his channel, like it's like kind of spreading around. So
right.
I don't know exactly what to do with this information, but what I've seen in the past is Putin projects what he's going to do through propaganda, right?
Right.
He gives himself a rationale for whatever he's going to do by putting propaganda out there about it.
That's right.
So
take it seriously, and word up to Hi-Fi, who's been talking about that vector explosion for quite some time, and word up to Sean Connor, who introduced us to the wily propagandist of Todd Callender.
And I just have to say, when we started researching him, there was not even an image. There's only one video of him that existed on the internet. And now, within a year.
Very spy-y. And also, it's very important to note that Connor found Callender's anti-vax site, which had all these propaganda points, some of which that Jim is talking about. And the address led to a tribal land in like Oklahoma that knew nothing about him. So everything was cover upon cover. And of course, when he probed the shell companies that he was behind, and there were thousands of them, maybe perhaps as a lawyer, he just put himself, down as he was doing this work for clients. But it was very important.
Yeah, the ones that we spoke about specifically in the article and with Zeb are the ones that he was either the co-owner of, like the one that he is the Russian, and he's at the Russian residence in Rublevska, I think it is, where Putin's personal guard lives, his personal military, his personal security, and it's the Beverly Hills, essentially, the Moscow
Stalin
suburb.
lived there, and every fancy
Bahamas.
Yeah,
he lived in Bahamas. He worked and operated on the Bahamas. The only place I could find this guy was in the Panama Papers. Literally online, Todd Callender didn't exist except for the Panama Papers, and now he's everywhere.
So once again, and I have a little surprise for our friends, because I've been continually. I want to focus on where action is taking place, and as you know, Tom Barrack was arrested, and as you know, Tom Barrack's very close with Trump, so I'm always pumping Marty for what could be happening with Barrack. And Marty, bless his heart, put together like a family tree of all these people that are involved with Barrack, Trump, Russians, and I'm going to be threading about it tonight because it's a very tangled web that they weave. But these players, everybody from the guy who ran Apollo and who connected with Epstein, I think once we zoom in, we zoom out. And when we come out and we look at it and we see how many media companies, tentacles are involved with this tangled web, it's very clear to me to see why there's been such an emphasis with our media, corporate controlled media, to run cover, to normalize, not only for money purposes, but because I do believe some of the executives have been tainted by these ties. So
We have
It's
a few more
fucking-
trolls tonight, so that's kind of interesting.
So Gal mentioned something which is interesting, which is Todd Callender started a new company, and guess
Yeah.
what date he started this new company? January 5th, 2021.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you know,
I think he started with
he knew exactly what was going to happen, and he was getting ready for it.
Yeah, I got it. I think he started that probably with a female attorney, the one that I was in the meeting with. But,
yeah.
Anyway, we can move on.
Yes, let's move on. But I think that one more thing I do want to say before we hopefully have anagrams or
Yeah.
something light to show people. When Todd Callender was at the White Coat Summit,
Yeah, go ahead.
number 2, there were so many kids there and so many kids present. And I'm very, very concerned about the children of the folks who are being, I believe the woman that you met with who was a lawyer that was kind of proselytizing, I believe these
Colorado,
people really
yeah.
are mind effed.
I do too,
I believe
yeah.
that they're and I think they're passing it on to their children. So I say this to tell you that we have, as Jim has always said, we have a lot of work ahead of us. We need mass deprogramming in America.
Well
And we
done,
need to
Jay.
start now.
I don't think Todd's mind fucked, and I don't
No,
No, I'm not
I think
talking
it-
about Todd.
yeah,
He's a paid propagandist.
Yeah,
in my
no, I
opinion.
agree.
He does.
In my
I just
opinion.
want to make just clarifying, because there's another guy also, the guy actually that Clayburgh sent me originally, which is his name is Jeffrey Prather, and that dude is ex-PSYOPs, ex-SOCOM, ex-DIA.
Is it Prager?
In, Iraq and Afghanistan. Prather, not Prager.
Oh, okay.
Jeffrey Prather, and he's also pushing this particular thing. So think about this: a psyops guy who was in Iraq and Afghanistan, was in SOCOM, and is now pushing this fucking propaganda, and was at the DIA.
Hi-Fi's got his hand up.
There
Hi-Fi's got his
is a
hand up.
problem.
Yeah.
Is that how many?
I didn't know if he was praising me.
Was it
Right.
the Bob
Crazy, he
Fosse
was like-
jazz hands again?
Jesus. I got a dump button on hi-fi now. You get a 5-second
Thanks.
delay. Go ahead.
Am I lagging,
buddy.
bro? I'm lagging.
Yeah, you are.
You're like,
It's
Yeah,
all
bro.
right. It's okay.
All right, I'm gonna
feed's
bounce. I'll come
super-
back in.
Your video feed's super high right
I'm
now.
gonna. I'll bounce.
So-
and come back in.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys saw the New York Times headline today that, one of Bojo the Clown, as Hi-Fi likes to call him, Boris Johnson's funders, had very suspicious ties to Russia. And I bring that up
Oh, you
because...
mean the $2.5 million that came from the Russians?
Yeah, but I bring that up because Todd Callender had some very suspicious business colleagues in London who had very strange ties to Russia.
They do.
So
They were- yeah.
you don't got to be too smart. You know what I'm saying? To
it's
see
the
what's
Russian
happening.
propaganda.
Yes,
Yeah.
It's the
yes.
Russian propaganda. It's very
Yes.
simple.
And they
Run-
must not be paying him well because he does not dress himself well. He's not wearing the 2000 suits. He's wearing
Here's
the
the thing, Heidi.
2-for-1. Could that be a
He
psyop?
he is now. He is now. So he's getting better dressed. He's getting groomed better. Yeah. Yep. It's not long gone are the big Texas tie days. I mean, Heidi, there was nothing. Remember, there's nothing on him. There was nowhere on the internet that he existed. He had his fake companies, right? That
Yeah.
just had his company names, and then he was on the Panama
Yeah.
Papers. We didn't even know what he looked like until Dr. Simone, Nina, or
Yeah.
whatever, with from the
Gold. Yeah.
frontline doctors put
Yeah.
that first video up, and then we were like, oh my god.
The other funny thing, while we're waiting for Hi-Fi to come back, is that his other law firm address was located in the Russian Riviera in Florida.
That's right.
I mean, what a.
He's just a scam.
Yeah.
He's a scammy. Yeah, he's a scammy fun. I mean, and now
It
he's this
sounds a
sort of
little
mouth.
more than scammy, though, right? He's like,
Yeah,
he's
it's prob-
he's
it's
working
probably,
with the
yeah.
Russian.
Yeah.
He
The
got wormed into it, yeah.
nanoparticles and the
Yes, Marie knows
Nuremberg.
the yellow tie, Marie. Yes, exactly right.
Yeah.
So I don't have a.
Oh, that's how Marie and I became friends. She
Was
was
the yellow tie?
watching that episode and she said, "Is he a coffin salesman?" Because he was really pushing the anti-vax
Right.
sign, and
Yeah.
it was love at first, chat.
Yeah, that's
it was
hilarious.
literally like, I love her. Yeah.
Okay.
It was amazing.
Here comes. Let's see if Hi-Fi's camera's still stoned. Let's see here. Yep.
Is
still
his
stoned.
camera still stoned? Hi-Fi's camera stoned. It doesn't matter, Hi-Fi.
It's
Just
okay.
say what's on your mind, bro.
I don't know what I missed.
I was going to show these guys. So who was it last time? Was it Jennifer? Where are you? Jennifer, did you make the psyop with
Yes.
PSYOP.
the okay.
She
Yeah.
did.
So here we're gonna come out with something. I'll show you guys. See if you like it. I think it's pretty funny. Here it is. Right?
Oh,
This little guy? And then his shirt's coming out.
So great. So great.
So
Yeah.
he's this little guy. Oh, life's a psyop. There it is.
Did you ever see
So-
the video Snakes Have Legs? We lost you.
Snakes
there.
have legs.
The
It's
snakes
high
have
now. What
legs.
happened?
Hey, bud.
There you are. This is Brad Pot and Chill.
I need
We're just
it
having
on a
issues
coffee
today.
mug. I need it on a hoodie. I need, how do I buy all this swag? All this side
I'm gonna get this put up and then let you guys know, and then you can, and we can
And then
buy 'em
Jennifer-
we can buy them directly from Printful, or you can get them. Yeah. So I'll let you guys know. But that
since Jennifer came up with it, we'll obviously
Yeah, we'll send you
have
one,
to
Jennifer,
work
yeah.
some sort of deal, but also maybe part of it can go to some
It's the
sort of
funniest thing.
charitable thing.
It's
psyop. And the thing is I can do it with so
did you
many
draw
different
that?
things. Yeah, it's a little hand drawn, dude.
It's
Okay.
great.
Well
It's totally like straight up like 4chan perfect.
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to try to do like a little
100%.
troll. Yeah.
Exactly like what
It
they would do.
so reminds me of Coffee Dan, who does Snakes Have Legs.
It's just like it's a bad like 4chan. Exactly, Jimmy nailed it. That's what I was just. I mean, it's like one line,
Yeah.
It's all with the mouse.
Was that
Anyway.
is that a tear? Is that a tear?
No, I didn't put a tear on him. He's just sighing.
Well, there's a little. Looks like
There's a little
Looks like he's
little
crying.
thing. What is it? Oh, so I printed anyway. I have one shirt coming. I just did an initial print to see how it looks, and then I'll let you guys know. But I thought it was too good. The psyop. Everything's a psyop. My life's a psyop.
Yeah.
Everything's a psyop.
True,
I
though.
always
It's
I
true though.
it is
It's
true.
true.
I have to write myself out of despair all the time because yesterday, of course, was a very, again, middle-aged
I
women.
used to tweet through it.
Well, right. Well, you're still
God, you guys
writing
are
through
you guys
it.
crack me up.
You're
You guys
still
have been
writing
chat
through
crack me
it.
up. Oh man.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Because there was a tear on it.
I know it's hilarious, but then somebody said that means he killed somebody. Yes, crack me up, man.
That's an OG tattoo.
Oh, I know, it's so funny. That's so good. Might make him a little character. Just cruising around
So
like
many things I wanted to talk about. and-
this guy. Like he's involved in like the most annoying things in life. Like you always pick the slowest line in the grocery store. It's like, oh, so sad.
What do you want to talk about, Heidi?
Yeah.
I think I
What do you
talked
wanna
about
talk
some. I think I talked about some of it, but I think I wanted to also mention Sean Connor and or your wife, Sean's wife Ellen, had a very brilliant insight that I don't think we've
Yes.
been looking at when it comes to the abortion issue, the anti issue. And would you want to say it, or do you want me to say?
Yeah,
Do you
so
remember it?
she was talking about this for a while, and I never really got it. And she was basically said, talking about how, so she's a huge Wu-Tang fan, right? And so we were watching some Wu-Tang Clan, the Hulu series, and there's a scene that the RZA's brother goes to jail, and he's selling crack cocaine, right, in the 90s, and his defender comes in and says, "Listen, if you admit that you're a user, you're an addict, we'll get you out of here and we'll get you into rehab." And he's like, "I'm not an addict. I'm a businessman, And so if you were selling it, you would get up to 5 to 10 years selling crack rock versus if you're a user, they could get you out immediately. And so she was saying that, well, that's, obviously part of the disenfranchisement was the penalties levied against, crack cocaine and then the urban environment. And she said the same thing's happening with abortion. And I never got it. But the result was that all of these states that are passing these laws that make abortion criminal, right, for the people that help them or for the women that get abortions are felonies, right? And felons can't vote. So it's sort of two birds, one stone thing is that the individuals that they're attempting to prosecute for this will then no longer be able to vote. So it's a way for them to continue to disenfranchise that segment of society.
Yeah.
And I never put it together. It seems so obvious now, but it's like, why are all these murder laws and these criminality?
Yeah.
Why are they doing on top of everything else? They're going to make it a crime. What the fuck?
Yeah.
And that is an end goal so that they can't vote.
Right. Another way to have voter suppression, and
right.
I think that's very important.
I mean, if you think about what white supremacist, misogynist men want, right? Is they only want white men to vote, right?
That's their only chance.
So, exactly. Well, that's where all this fucking replacement theory and all this shit comes from.
That's right.
It all comes from the same.
I thought that was
pathetic, terrified.
But then that makes sense
bullies.
again for not only the not just the women's vote, but for the people assisting in any way, right? So the helpers, anyone else found, high five, open your eyes, buddy.
Let
us not
the
forget
liberals-
that
put all
Peter
the liberals
fucking
in jail.
Teal.
Yes. Good.
Peter fucking Teal wrote that he did not
Yeah.
believe that women should have the right to vote.
What
Yeah.
he said, he said that
Something like
democracy and freedom are not compatible, and
Yeah.
that the reason for that is because of women's suffrage.
Yeah.
And let's not
So-
forget
There you go.
Peter Thiel anagrams into
Serious?
the lizard.
Yes, Peter Steele anagrams into the lizard.
God damn it, Sean.
So that was so much
That was
fun.
hardcore. That was hardcore COVID days, guys. That
So,
episode is hilarious.
Speaking of killing two birds with one stone, I think it's super cool that perhaps these guys really aren't the masters of the universe that they think they are, because it looks like, one of the PayPal Mafia bros, it looks like some of his shit's tanking and tanking fast. And, whether we're talking about the fact that they're pushing crypto or taking a look at, Twitter or taking a look at, let's say, Tesla. I don't know where it's all going to end, but I think that I don't know, a little bit of Schadenfreude in the air.
With what?
I don't know. He's still got $260
Oh,
billion.
I know.
220.
He lost.
I know.
He lost
220.
Some of what's that?
220.
Well,
He's lost 40 billion.
Well, I'm just saying that's got to hurt. You know what I'm
I
saying?
agree with you. Yeah, Lion. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to
It's
see.
not a good look. It's not a good
It's
look.
not enough.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
They lose that kind of money all the time.
All right.
They
Who?
listen, the $44 billion that Elon Musk is, even if he lost all $44 billion, right? It would be well worth it if he gets the town square to himself.
Yeah.
It's not.
How
It's
much
important
is
though.
that
It's
worth?
not. It's not
How
cash
much is
though. It's
that
not.
worth?
He's not buying it cash, right? He's
Right.
It's,
Of course,
it's
he's not.
leveraged.
No, it's
So that's what I'm saying.
it's-
So it wouldn't be a loss directly to him, obviously.
But-
so
but-
there's
so-
these other strings, I think. There.
It could fuck him up. I mean,
I
it
need
could fuck
to
him up.
ask
It
you
could.
guys, though. I need to ask you guys. Do you think, in light of what we learned from Sharon Norris in episode 23, where the people in the UK, there's a little bit of anarchy in the UK, where they, basically voted out hundreds and hundreds of conservatives. So 500 city council seats all over, the UK. Actually, the Conservatives lost seats. People are tired of them. They're tired of the bullshit. Do you think that there is anything to be hopeful about here? Do you think people might be tired of these guys, that maybe some of the messaging that we're putting out and others are putting out is penetrating? Or am I just being hopeful in a week that was filled with shite news?
I think you're being hopeful, honestly. Like, look at Twitter right now. It's a fucking nightmare. It always was, but as far as I can tell, like the level of misogyny, hate, fear, it's just like
I got it all blocked. I got it all blocked.
Yeah,
but is that resonating in the
that,
real world more?
Everything that trends is fucking like all this horrible shit, right?
Yeah.
I just can't imagine that if it gets that bad, people will stay. I can't imagine. Maybe they will.
They don't, but there's no other place for them to go. They've cornered.
There's always another place. There's always another place. Well, it's just started, Jim. I mean, it's going to get worse than there will be.
We're going to have to.
The demand will have to
start ours. We're going to have to start ours. The one that we.
I mean, even there's no other place to go. I just wouldn't even be on. I mean, if it gets that bad, if it gets like 4chan, I mean, if it gets that bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's already getting bad. Like you're saying, like it's crazy seeing just like this pornography pops up out of nowhere. Just weird shit that never came up before. All of a sudden is like in the feed. I'm like, what the fuck?
It's in the trending. It's like naked. There's always a story about a naked celebrity.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like that just happened in the last. That just happened in the last few weeks. It's constant, right?
Some of them are in Congress.
And there's constantly this crypto shit, and then it's like Baked Alaska, and then MAGA King, and like all this, and then Bidenflation, and it's like there ain't no balance anymore at all.
Well,
whatever it is that he flipped a switch when it first happened. Remember that? A whole bunch of new people got followed, and a whole bunch of other people got unfollowed.
Well,
something happened. I don't know.
Okay, Twitter executives are quitting because they're like, "Fuck this noise," right? So we got that happening.
Right.
January 6th committee is subpoenaing some traitors. So we got that happening. And also, I sent you guys one of the quotes from one of the traitors who did a classic Anna Arendt propagandist move. By the book. It's like, I can't beat you on facts, so I'm just going to deflect. I'm just going to question motive. Kevin McCarthy had no defense, so he basically said, "Oh, it's it's political, but look at inflation and look over here and look over there." And it's like, oh man, people. I don't think people are going to buy that shit. I just don't.
Here's a bit of good news. Kevin fucking McCarthy got subpoenaed.
Yes,
that's a big deal.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, listen.
I know.
Subpoenaing the minority leader is no joke, right? And I'm all for it. Do not get me wrong, because we are at the last stop. But if the fucking politicians start subpoenaing each other on a regular basis, it's remember everything, all the rules, the maximum extent that they can be possibly pushed, they will be. For example, the filibuster is gone day one.
Yeah.
If Donald gets back. Day one.
Yeah, right. Well, I also want to point out that people, please stay alert. Please stay wise. When you start to see another really heinous political candidate running for Congress or Senate, I'm speaking about, I don't even want to say his name because I don't want to give, but there's another Cawthorn, there's another Hawley, there's another Marjorie Taylor Greene running around. Only his gun is like, like 15 feet long, like they always got to ratchet it up. But there's another,
well, they're super overcompensating.
Well, okay, but they're also like addicts. They keep ratcheting it up because people need more and more outrage, more and more, hate, more and more othering, whatever. But I'm just saying, you see these people now, they're done with Cawthorn, so now they got somebody else. Again, I'm not going to say his name. If anybody's been paying attention to anything, they know who I'm talking about. And just be aware that these are trolls that are planted. They are part of the fifth column, more than likely with tentacles to Russian operatives or some of the American traitors who are, Donald Trump supports this guy. What more do you need to know? So I'm just saying, like, be more aware. We were kind of broadsided by Marjorie Taylor Greene. Like, they knocked Trump off of Twitter and suddenly it's, look over here. Here's a horrible person. Look all the terrible things she's doing.
There's 53 QAnon candidates this time.
Yeah,
right.
I remember.
53.
Yeah.
That's
I
something
remember
I'm working on. I know.
So I remember
it was a couple last
20,
time.
It was like 2022 or something. I remember like live tweeting which ones were going, and Lawson won, and unfortunately the couple got in. But it's also, you have to pay attention to what are they calling themselves. I remember months and months ago I said, okay, let's look for this word. The American First. Republicans. That became a thing for a while, right? Now it's ultra MAGA. So the things, the way that they continue to refine how they refer to the Trump loyalists are important, because you start to see, and they've learned the behavior, right? Marjorie Taylor Greene learned from Trump the power of trolling. Like, all of her campaign funding majority comes from Florida and Texas and California, not even from Georgia, right? That's how she bought her fancy new $90,000 SUV. It was not from her constituency, but from other states, because of that trolling nature. But now, anyway, my point being is now they're calling themselves ultra MAGA. And it's just sounds like a condom or something.
They're trolling themselves to be more radical.
Yes, that's right.
That's part of it too.
This is a really important dynamic, and because it's going on right now in this same thing, right? Like, this woman, Kathy Barnett, somebody mentioned in the chat. I wrote a piece about her, and I'm not going to get into her whole story. It's really fucking ugly. She's anti-choice, and all of that. But Flynn is pushing her into this race because, well, for one thing, he doesn't like Oz, because Oz is connected to this guy who is currently pointing at Flynn as being
Turkish.
Yes, which he was.
But this woman, Kathy Barnett, has no perceivable background at all, much less qualifications to be senator of anything, and they're pushing her into this with the most radical possible anti-choice rhetoric you can imagine. Around abuse of women, and it's just what you see is these people like Nick Fuentes, like Flynn, like the more radical ends, trolling constantly any semblance of sanity in the GOP, and pulling them back more and more into this dark place. And it's a dynamic, I think, that people don't pay enough attention to. It's not just them fighting and being assholes. It's one part of the movement trying to radicalize the other part of it more, and having that work.
And as we know from Nancy McLean and the questions that we asked her about why did the GOP, quote unquote, traditionalists, why didn't they stop this back in 2015 and 2016 when they could? And they just didn't, because they wanted the money, they wanted the votes, they knew that they would get attacked. So they're really responsible. Their own party is responsible for allowing this incredible domestic terrorism to escalate. And I think that I do have hope, because that's just my nature, I suppose, but I do have hope that they've overshot their mark. I do. It's interesting when you see lifelong Republicans, even those who became independents, who kind of have a loud bullhorn, just completely ripping apart their own party. And I would like to see more of that. And by the way, we talked about an incredible tweet thread by a gentleman named Fred Wellman on our previous episode, and how he wrote that, we need to start framing, when Peter Thiel pays for a candidate like J.D. Vance and others, when $25 million is put down like a horse race, it has to be, Peter Thiel is one step closer to buying American democracy. And then Jim said, let's invite Fred Wellman on. Well, Fred's going to be here with us this week because we put out the invitation. So well done, you and us. And also, I think it's very important that a puff piece was planted. I believe it was yesterday in CNN, it's not unusual, where they're like, Peter Thiel has decided he's not going to spend any more money. Oh my God. I had a total, like, Mercer flashback. They were planting those pieces on Robert Mercer, saying the exact same thing, and they were completely wrong. And these are the things that they do. So perhaps the spotlight that we and others are putting on Peter Thiel made his flack say, let's retract this. Let's look like he's not interested anymore, or he's already got his ROI. Bullshit. The money's already infecting us. We'll see what else we can find, but it doesn't stop. It's not like all of a sudden he's going to be a choir boy. Yes, Connor.
It's good news and bad news. I was just sitting here doing an anagram while I was listening. You guys, it's not. It's kind of weird. It's another weird one. Yeah, you guys want to see it?
Yeah, well, we do.
Yeah.
But does it need a trigger warning?
It's a little disheartening, but we'll take a look at it. Right, but it's one of those another one that's a fucking remarkable, and you're like, how the fuck does this happen? So
no.
if you guys,
All right, let's do it.
You guys ready?
I'm ready.
All right, man.
Sock it to me.
Check this out. Pro-life. Okay.
Oh dear.
Oh no.
Oh.
Oh.
Wow.
That's
Oh. I think actually what I see is the lizard.
That's fucking weird, right?
I
is
don't see
weird.
Flip Row. I see the lizard.
That's fucking weird, man.
It is weird.
I just want to point out when the
That's
lizard
weird.
when Peter Thiel did not
Thank you, guys. That's
anagram
weird.
out to the lizard and anagrammed out to the reptile.
I knew it.
But can I just tell
Right.
you, all
Please
three of us, Connor was recovering from COVID, so he had an excuse, but the three of us didn't realize immediately
You guys went along with
there
it.
was no
Yeah.
Z. There was no Z. Like, what the hell? And then finally Hi-Fi was like, I don't think there's a Z.
And I'm the
I
high
was
one.
just-
Yeah.
I was just
I'm-
waiting for it. That's all.
Had the COVID, but that's fucking weird, dude. The pro-life to Flip Row. That's a weird one. That's another weird one.
It is hot in here.
I don't know. Anagrams are prophetic. You're right, Jane.
Wow.
Something weird with anagrams.
All I know is you definitely started a trend because some other quote unquote influencers started doing anagrams too.
I
So-
saw that shit, and it's like,
I know.
I've been
I
getting
know.
I've been getting made fun of for my anagrams since I was 2. No, since junior high. I've been
I was
just
gonna say
tinkered on
since
it.
middle school, right?
Yeah, totally. My mom's English teacher. said that
OG
was
anagrammer.
anagram, bro.
Well, some of y'all were
I
rapping.
always did the jumble in the paper.
I love the fucking word jumble.
I
Should-
did
we
that
should
with
do
my
that.
I
dad.
want to put you in an fMRI and trace your brainwave patterns while you do your anagrams to see if certain
It's-
areas in your
It's
brain light up.
so soothing. It's very soothing for me. It's very, very
You
soothing.
know what? In middle school, I think Hi-Fi might have been playing the cello and singing opera. Is that true? Is that true, Hi-Fi?
No, middle school was saxophone and cello. And
Oh, nice.
My God,
Yeah.
hidden depths with Hi-Fi, man.
There is a picture that he will share with us at one point, and we will share it hopefully with our viewers, where it's like, I don't know, it was almost like a Kevin Bacon Footloose type deal, but kind of
Does it
like,
have
you
the-
know.
it was 1990, okay?
the party in the back haircut and everything.
No,
The-
it
No,
was
no,
just-
no.
no.
I did not have a
I had
mullet.
one of
I
those.
always kept
I
my
had-
shit short and back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
I had
very
a whole
like
ass tail. I
You
did.
did
Yes.
what? You had a
I had a
tail?
whole tail and a
Tanner Stacks.
mustache. It was the worst. And
But that was kind of punk rock, though, right?
Yes.
Wasn't
Did you
that
have
kind
the
of
at
punk
the
rock?
time, it was actually very punk rock because I was in a
Yeah.
punk band and I looked like an idiot. And I
Did
was
you have-
fine with
did
it.
you
I
have
was like, fuck
acid
you,
wash
I looked like an
jeans?
idiot.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
I will
Texas
not
was-
claim the acid wash. No.
No acid wash.
I had dittos
Jim?
and Chemenda furs.
What?
Dittos and Chemenda furs. Come
Don't know
on
what
now.
that is.
Okay.
No.
Different generation. Dittos?
I don't know what that.
Dittos made a freaking comeback. All right.
I don't know.
Dittos?
The ladies are
Dittos.
gonna have to school you.
Rush Limbaugh, the Ditto Head stuff. Like we were talking
Gloria
about.
Vanderbilt, Chemenda Furs, Dittos, Calvin Klein. It was a thing. It was
Ah.
a thing. Yeah.
It was a whole
It was
thing.
a thing.
Put that on my
I
two
remember
Google
Calvin
lists.
Klein jeans. I
Yeah.
remember all the
Same
cool
era.
kids had Calvin Kleins.
Mhm.
And I
Marky
had the
Mark.
Wranglers. and that didn't go well for me.
But you want to know something though? Wranglers became really cool in the 90s again.
I know,
you know?
but they weren't cool then.
I remember Marky Mark did those ads and how awful those were, and then his dedication and his memoir was.
Oh, for the Calvin Klein.
Yeah.
I mean, are the ones with the like 13-year-olds and shit?
Yeah. No, these were just the Marky Mark ads.
No, I
More
know.
designer
Yeah.
shit. You know what I want to bring back? Tough Skins.
They never
Tough
went
Skins.
away. They never
They
went
Tough
away.
Skins.
Were you a Husky kid? Those are for Husky kids, right? The
I
Eagle Boy
actually
jeans.
DJ'd under the name Husky Tough Skins.
He did. He did. It was
My
pretty
mom
funny.
got me Tough Skins, and I was like, nope,
Nope.
take them back.
Yeah.
Okay,
Nope.
bring back
I
Tough Skins,
can't.
man.
I get
Yeah,
my ass kicked and no.
I think that we
I can't
all
bring the Tough
owe
Skins.
our viewers a photo from back in the day. Sean has an incredible soccer history.
Yeah,
I
that's
have
right.
I have an early '90s interesting LA Hollywood club history. I became
Yes.
instantly hip because I inherited my father-in-law's wardrobe.
Jordache, nice. Yeah.
I inherited my father-in-law's like press-on Lee pants and stuff. So all of a sudden I was like instant cool. You know, you add a flannel.
Press
to
on
some-
Lee pants.
Well, they were not press-on. Press-on Lees, I think, are the nails, but these were like you didn't have to iron them, so they were like I don't know, press and wear. I'm not sure, but Lee pants and they were like polyester is I guess the word I'm looking for. Yeah.
Yikes.
That was
Yes,
hip
yes,
with
that's
some
the word.
with some motorcycle boots and a Triumph t-shirt.
Did you guys do you guys remember the Z Cavaricci pants? Do you remember those? The huge puffy ones?
Vaguely.
Oh yeah.
They're really puffy and then they're real tight at the bottom. They're it was like the hammer pants, like hammer pants.
No,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, those were bad.
No.
Those were bad.
Those we called those
Mhm.
Venice Beach pants. Those are
Okay,
Venice
that's-
Beach
yeah.
pants. They
Yeah.
still exist. And the tank
Oh, yeah.
top.
They do
Yeah.
kind of like they look like these yoga pants that you would see now, but they were
Yes. Oh,
High-
God.
high
Then
fashion
there was
for-
there was that whole preppy thing with the Izods and OP and all that shit.
That's
Isn't
still
it?
huge. That's still
Ugh,
huge.
ugh.
Mhm.
yes.
One of the kids who volunteers on my campaign always comes in with like a Madras shirt and some like Izod shorts, you know, and
Some
he looks like
deck shoes.
he looks like he stepped into like 1981. He wears it well, you know. Yeah, you know how it goes.
Does he wear
What-
pastel yellow sweaters around his neck and shit?
No, he doesn't. No.
Okay.
No.
That's probably
But I
smart,
might
right?
I might recommend it. You know. Yeah.
Well,
Well, this
sorry,
was the most.
sorry, my anagrams really devolved the conversation into
Oh,
80s and 90s fashion.
I think this was exactly what we all needed. We needed a palate cleanser. We just
Yes,
needed to
yeah.
we just needed that palate cleanser.
Good. Well, I'm glad
Um,
we have. Go ahead.
The world's a
what's your
horrible place. It's falling into the ocean.
yeah? What
Sorry,
is your
I felt compelled. Sorry.
Let's just leave with what your favorite song is right now. Like, what is the thing that you put on when you want to feel better?
Oh shoot! Somebody skip me. Somebody else go first. I just
High
know
five.
I'll say the new Kendrick
Oh.
Lamar song. If you guys haven't seen the video, the new Kendrick Lamar,
Yeah.
The
Videos-
video is
is it-
freaking fantastic.
it's super amazing. So that's what I've been sort of freaking out on,
Right.
just because the video is really smart, clever as he
Right.
is. So
Right. Jim, is there anything you're listening to?
I've been listening to a lot of Led Zeppelin. A lot of When the
Oh,
Wet Levee Breaks. If
Ah.
John Bonham is the best rock drummer that ever lived, in my opinion.
yeah.
And I get a lot of pleasure from listening to him play the drums in the car very fucking loud.
Right.
yes.
I know that if I put on Childish Gambino, Feels Like Summer, I'm immediately in a joyful mood.
Nice.
So
Yes,
that's
yes.
my recommendation. If anybody wants just to feel a little bit of lightness and beauty, that song just always makes me so happy. All
Very
right,
nice.
everybody. That was a really
Thanks,
fun,
guys.
rad,
You
hot,
skipped
and
me,
chill.
but that's okay.
Oh yeah, high five. What's up?
No,
Oh,
let's
high
not
five. I
skip
thought you
high
did.
five.
I'm
Jesus.
sorry. I thought he weighed in.
I've actually been jamming out to the Pixies album Doolittle lately.
Yes.
Yes.
I was listening to that. I was
Yeah.
playing that for my kid the other day. Yeah,
That-
totally.
that's on heavy rotation for me too. Bro.
Yeah.
That's the energy I got right now.
Always.
That's a good
I
vibe,
almost-
dude.
I almost
Frank-
wore
Frank-
my Pixies shirt, but it had boobies, so I wasn't sure where it would
Frank
cut off.
Black's
You know.
the man. He's so
Mhm.
good.
Yes, Frank Black, love it.
Mhm.
Where's my mind? Okay, dudes.
Mhm.
See you next week.
Mutilation.
Mhm.
Goodbye,
All right,
guys.
everybody. Well, I'm going to
Goodbye.
chat. But so
Love y'all.
great to see everybody. That was really fun.
Bye, guys.
Good night.